Hey, what's up, everybody? So, today I want to share with you my experience and my lessons that I learned networking with over 10,000 Black millennials at the National Convention of the National Society of Black Engineers. So, I've been on a little hiatus for the past couple weeks, but I went home, spent some time with family, got to catch up with friends, and it was really good to see everybody. I also attended a conference in Detroit. I'm from Flint, Michigan, so just right down the road. And this was the 45th convention for the National Society of Black Engineers. And if you're not familiar with NSBE, the mission of NSBE is to increase the number of culturally responsible Black engineers who excel academically, succeed professionally, and positively impact the community. Well, going to this convention was going to be a pleasure for me because I was going to get to talk to over 10,000 Black millennials in my particular niche, which is obviously Black millennials, and helping them, launch their businesses and create their dream consulting business. So it was going to be an exciting time, and I really had a great time. And I wanted to share with you five lessons, five things I've learned from talking to millennials at the conference, and some of my takeaways from it, and how I'm using that to move forward my business, and how other millennials can relate to these things as well, and how you can see how these millennials are using it to push themselves forward, whether it be looking for a job or looking to start their own business. So one of the first things that I ended up talking about with millennials. So when I got there, I was pulled into a group chat with some millennials who were particularly worried about their grades, and because they didn't have the high grade point average, and they were looking to get a job and get internships, things of that nature. So, what it really came down to is that, number one, there's always a pressure to perform. So, you've probably also had this pressure, throughout your life. I usually call it the achievement wheel, or the achievement treadmill, where it's just, you're supposed to keep going and going, get good grades when you're in school as you're younger, so you can get the best scholarships, so you can go to the best schools and work at the best companies. And it kind of seems like it never ends. So, a lot of times millennials feel like that, the pressure on them is immense because their family says they're supposed to do X, Y, Z. And, they may not really want to do those things, or it may be difficult because, they don't have the grades, and, they don't have the confidence to go out and get these internships. So, that was one of the big things. And then there was a number of conversations, including, on my first day at the conference, about the pressures on millennials, the pressures on young people to succeed, to be A+ students, to participate in all these different activities, and somehow still kind of find time to have a life and to actually go to school and do the things that they're there to do. So, and that was really one of the number one thing of the millennials that I talked to about all that pressure that is on them. So number two was that it's hard to really find a direction, and I can definitely understand that. As young millennials, as young people, graduating college or finishing high school, trying to figure out kind of what's next. There isn't always the type of guidance we would like, or the type of guidance we would expect from our schools, from our families, and from our friends. And a lot of times that really comes down to us not aligning our expectations of what we think success is with what everyone else thinks success is. So to give you an example, one of the students I was talking to really couldn't decide, do they want to go to industry to get a job? Do they want to go to grad school? Or maybe do they even want to start something on their own right now? And that's typically a thing I talk to with my clients when they come to me, other millennials looking to start their business. They're usually thinking about also going to get an MBA, and they're also usually still working their 9 to 5. And, they really just need someone to figure out what are the options that lay in front of them. So similar to my clients, these younger millennials that were at the conference, they're also suffering from that. And, they have those resources on campus, and, those resources still don't seem to be serving them as well. And, what I told them in those conversations is that, you have to really get out there and look for opportunities on your own. You're talking to me, you're at this conference, so you're already doing some of those things. You just have to understand that it doesn't happen overnight, and that, as you continue to look for a direction and see the things that you like, see the things that you don't like, you'll have a better understanding of which way to go in. And then kind of similar to that one, number three is, they lack leadership and they lack mentorship. So, on their campus, they typically are the minority, and that comes with its own sets of challenges. And when you're trying to navigate environments that you're not familiar with and trying to find your way on a probably a big campus with 10,000s of students, and you're just one student trying to make your way. And the biggest thing for those students, what I told them is, you have to, one, be your own leader at times. There's not always going to be someone to guide you along. So you have to go out there and read, you have to go out there and research, and you have to go out there and continue to network. And, the next thing that I told them that they need to do is really go out there and ask. You have to go out there and ask for mentors to mentor your people. Don't typically just raise their hand and volunteer. If you ask and approach people you respect and people you look up to, it'll be a lot easier for you to find that direction. And a lot of times people are not going to say no to, you asking them for help and for mentorship. So the fourth thing that I learned and discussed with millennials at the conference was, they typically don't want a traditional career, whether that be going to academia as a PhD or to corporate America. A lot of times millennials want a blend in their career. They want to be able to do something that's impactful, something that's going to allow them to give back, but also is going to allow them to make some money and to live comfortably. And so a lot of times when millennials, particularly millennials at the conference, are looking at, okay, what's going to be the career path for me? They see themselves working in industry maybe for a few years and then branching off and doing something on their own, or going to work at a research firm or working in a research industry and then switch that and put that into industry later. So millennials don't see their career as just, one straight shot, like my parents or maybe your parents worked for a company for their whole life. I know my grandparents, my aunts and uncles all worked for General Motors for, 20, 30 years, all retired and get a pension from there. Millennials today really kind of think that they're not going to even have a retirement by the time it gets there. And so, they need to make their own plans. And so part of that is really figuring out what is the career that they want and figuring out what's going to be the right mix of these different opportunities so they can be the most happy, the most successful. And it doesn't necessarily have to be in dollars, but it really revolves around, what makes them fulfilled and what is something that they can do every day, and it brings joy to them and provides value. All right, and then the last thing that I learned, number 5, from talking to millennials at the conference, is that they're full of energy, but they're really afraid of the unknowns, and that's totally understandable. As a young person, you're excited to finally, be an adult, get out there in the world. You're excited to make some money. I know that when I was in graduate school, I had an option of getting a PhD. And after thinking it over, I said, you know what, I'm ready to go make some money and I want to get that experience. So, a lot of times you just want to get out there and see what you can do, prove yourself, see if you can, live up to those expectations you've built for yourself and really see how you perform. But at the same time, it's totally unknown. It's exciting, and that's the unknown, and not knowing what's next. That's what makes it exciting, because the opportunities are endless. If you knew the end of the movie, well, it wouldn't be that exciting because you already know what's going to happen. But since you're just starting out and you're just getting into your career, or maybe a few years into your career, still really exciting. But the unknowns is, am I going to have to move from my job? Am I going to have to switch industries? Am I going to have to switch jobs? And a lot of times, I think I just mentioned the millennials, and number 3 that I talked to, they really understood that they may not be in the same industry and they may not be in the same career, but they were okay with that. But that unknown still bothered them. And if they were thinking about going into business, well, all of those unknowns were really the things that were kind of scaring them and holding them back. They really didn't know anything about sales. They didn't know about marketing. They knew that they had ideas, and they knew as engineers that they could solve any problem and that they could figure out how to iterate on their ideas, and they could eventually get to a solution and provide value for customers. But when it comes to sales, marketing, talking to customers, things of that nature, they were totally lost, and that was really what was holding them back. And so what I told to them is that the unknown is truly the exciting. And when I was in your situation, I also didn't know, but I didn't let that unknown, that not knowing where I was going, I didn't let that frighten me, and I didn't let that hold me back. I knew that I had goals. I knew there were things that I want to accomplish, and if I let the unknown hold me back, I knew that there was no way they were going to get accomplished. And that's truly the secret to most things, is to just get out there and do it. And if you feel apprehensive, if there's any anxiety, if you feel stressed about it, well, that's a natural occurrence. We all do. This week I've been going through some stress as well in my life, so it's nothing to be up in alarm. You just have to learn strategies to deal with it, strategies to deal with the unknown, like meditation, and just be comfortable knowing that if you put in your best work and you put in the effort, you will be successful. So guys, that's what I wanted to share with you today. Those 5 lessons I've learned from networking with millennials at the National Society of Black Engineers National Convention in Detroit, Michigan. I do these videos once a week. If you have any questions, you can post them down in the comments below. Please make sure to like the video and to subscribe to this video if you would like to hear more. Thanks, everybody.